Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Matters That Matter. I'm Simran and I'm in a conversation with my mentor, Susie Singh. Susie, today I want to talk to you about self love. Again, a very commonly used term these days, very popular term. We are constantly told to love ourselves and practice self love. And a lot of times people confuse self love with self care, giving yourself bubble baths and indulging in a good meal. But I don't think people really truly realize what the meaning of self love is. So, how do we go about learning to love ourselves?
So I think first it is important to understand where the action of love must be felt or applied within yourself. Like you very rightly pointed out, that self-care is so often confused with self-love.
Yeah.
So let's take an example. If I take an egg, a raw egg, and I ask you to knock it with something blunt, what's going to happen?
It's going to break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's assume that I put a lot of effort into trying to clean up this egg, and then I'm going to paint it and make it look really beautiful and apply some glitter to it. And now I have this really smart raw egg. And I even perch it on top of, let's say, a Russian egg holder. It looks beautiful on the outside. It's very, very smart. And now something comes and knocks it. And when it breaks, what's going to happen?
It's going to lose the
It's going to
beauty,
get
the
messy.
smartness. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to get messy
it's going to
again.
get messy, and you're going to have this sort of gooey egg all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, the eggshell is a bit like the mask that we wear on an outside or our facade. And no matter how much work that we do on the outside, which is,
Mm.
like you said, taking care of ourselves and going to the parlor and taking the massages and the bubble baths and working very hard to be in this perfect size 8 or size 6 or whatever you're striving for, and exercising and doing all of that, it is still working, or the application of all of your efforts is on the outside. It's on the shell of the
Yeah.
human or the person that we are, right?
Yeah.
Now, when something in your life comes and hurts you, it still shatters you. Like that gooey, messy egg that cracks at the whip of something hard, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, instead, if I suggest to you that, Simran, take this egg and put it into boiling water and keep it there for a while and go cook it. And now you have this cooked egg and you hit it with something blunt, what's going to happen?
It's not going to break anymore.
Well, the
It is
shell
going
will
to get
break,
cracked. Yeah, it
the
is going to
shell
get
will
cracked,
crack
but
open,
it's
but
not
the
going to be
force
messy.
of being cooked, has managed to bring everything that's on the inside together.
Together. Yeah.
It holds itself together.
Hmm.
And our lives are pretty much like that. When the application of all our practices is on the inside, then when difficulties come our way, when we are knocked over by life's challenges or adversities, we are still able to, we get cracked on the outside, we suffer some pain, but we are able to hold ourselves together like that boiled egg.
Right.
So, very important to understand that the application of every practice that you're embracing in the effort to increase your self-love
Yeah.
must work on the inside, not on the surface or not on the outside. It's not about looking smarter or sharper or better or more beautiful or more elegant or more dressed up. That's not self-love. That is self-care. And we are not referring to that right now. We are referring to self-love. In order to be able to love yourself, therefore, we have to identify practices that will help me protect myself from hurting myself, or to
Right.
make me more resilient to all of those things that are going to come at me during the course of everyday life, so that I don't get shattered when I face them. For that, I need to learn how to be self-reliant on the inside, where I
Right.
don't have to go to someone else to put my pieces together again. but
Hmm.
I'm able to use my own gathering force by learning to love myself. And this keeps me together through life's ordeals. This will require, firstly, my vulnerability. Whenever something comes and hurts us, there will be a shattering. But the
Hmm.
shattering can either destroy you completely and you can be all over the place, or it can just shatter the egg. So you have to be vulnerable to allow yourself to feel the truth about what's happening on the inside. So often we mask our true feelings
Hmm.
and we pretend that we are okay when we are not.
Hmm.
And that, over a period of time, makes us become inauthentic to our own selves.
Yeah.
And that works against self love.
Yeah.
So take the empathy, your ability to feel everything that is happening, and we turn that empathy inwards towards
Hmm.
our own self. So it's okay for us to know how we are feeling on the inside, because all of the work that we need to do for self love must happen in a very authentic way on our inner space, not on the exterior at all.
Extreme. Hmm.
So it needs our compassion, it needs
Hmm.
empathy, it
Right.
needs it needs our self-reliance or a desire to be self-reliant.
Hmm.
And through the practices or through the efforts that we are going to apply on the inside, we need to become resilient, so that every time life comes and knocks us over, we can hold ourselves together.
So, self care, which people often mistake for self love, always mostly feels good. We do things for ourselves that feel good. But self love might not feel good sometimes, but still might be
Self-love,
love.
self-love is about opening ourselves up, which is why it takes
Hmm.
vulnerability,
Hmm.
because we need to allow ourselves to feel what my true inner state is. Am I really wounded and broken and shattered inside? Unfortunately, the mask that we wear to the world, so often we self-hypnotize ourselves to believe that that is my truth. And
Hmm.
our responses can be, oh, I don't care. I'm not going to let this hurt me. I'm not going to let this break me. No, I'm not hurting. It's very often, you go to a doctor, he'll take your BP and he'll say, your BP is very high. Is there a problem? And you say, no, doctor, I'm not stressed about anything. We don't even know that
No,
we are
yeah.
stressed about something. We
Hmm.
don't know why we are not falling asleep at night. There's so many people
Hmm.
that I find, and the first symptom is, oh, I have insomnia. I'm unable to sleep all night.
Hmm.
And if you're not sleeping at night, something on the inside that you may not be aware of needs your attention. And if you are willing to practice self love, you will also be willing to investigate that.
So, Susie, how do we know if we love ourselves? Like, is there a way to figure out if we actually love ourselves or not?
There's a very simple method. And, I'm just going to ask you, just make a list.
Hmm.
On one side of that list, you're going to answer things that I don't like about myself. And on the other side, things I really admire in myself.
Hmm.
And look at the length of both those lists. The first list is going to be pretty long, and the
Hmm.
second list is most
Hmm.
likely to be a way shorter one. People struggle a lot when I ask them to do this exercise. Or you can say things that I can do very well and
Hmm.
things that I'm not good at. Now, this is a very simple way. If we have a 60-40 kind of balance, then
Hmm.
we do know that we have a fairly healthy measure of self love. But if it
Hmm.
is more like an 80-20 or a
Hmm.
70-30, the length of those
Hmm.
two lists compared, then
Hmm.
we know that we are not very loving towards ourselves, because most of our attention, or what's top of mind, are things I
Hmm.
don't like about myself, things that I hate in myself, things that I don't think are right, things that I cannot do. Those lists will
Right.
give you an instant answer to where on that scale your self love presently is.
Right. So, Susie, the example you gave us earlier about the egg and the boiling the egg. So, how do we go about boiling this egg? What is the process? To,
Well, we need to stop unloving ourselves, and we're going to talk about how to do that in the next video. So watch out for the next video, where we are going to talk about all of these unloving practices that you need to stop doing if you want to learn how to love yourself.
So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful to understand that loving yourself is not just about caring for yourself or doing nice things for yourself, but understanding yourself better and being more aware about who you are as a person. Watch out for our next video where we discuss what are the practices or what are the ways we can use to better love ourselves. If you like this video and find it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.